I decided to go on a solo hike one day, something I wasn't all that familiar with. But it felt right, you know? The mountains were calling, and I just needed to be outdoors. The whole day went by without a hitch. Trees, bushes, nature had completely swallowed me, and I loved every second of it. Everything seemed normal, at least until I started heading back to my car. After about 8 hours of trekking, I figured I'd had enough. The sun was already dipping below the horizon, and I knew I needed to hustle. But here's where things started getting weird. The trail didn't look familiar at all. Panic started bubbling up. I tried to stay calm, but as the sky turned darker, so did my thoughts. Before I knew it, night had fully taken over. My only source of light was a fading flashlight, and no clue where I was. I realized it was too risky to keep going in the dark, especially in a forest this dense. I started to seriously worry that I'd be spending the night out in the open with no shelter. Then, almost like a stroke of luck, I stumbled across this old, broken-down cabin. It looked like no one had been there in years, dusty, worn, with a kind of eerie silence around it. But it was shelter, and I needed it. I knocked, just in case, but no one answered. The place felt abandoned. So, I let myself in. Oddly enough, there was this single bed in the center of the room, almost like it was waiting for me. I thought, well, if the owner comes back, I'll explain myself. Maybe they wouldn't care, or maybe they weren't even around anymore. So, I made myself comfortable. That's when I noticed the paintings. The walls were lined with these old portraits, people with strange, unsettling smiles. They seemed to watch me, their eyes following every move I made. It sent chills through me, but I was too tired to care. Exhaustion from the hike finally kicked in, and I drifted off trying to ignore those grinning faces. Morning came quickly. As I opened my eyes, I immediately noticed something was off. My heart skipped a beat as I looked around the room. There weren't any paintings at all. What I had seen the night before, those portraits, were actually windows. And they weren't just looking at me. I had been looking at them.